Welcome to my weaving room here on Grumpy Goat Farm. I'm going to do a video tutorial for, first of all, my students that take my introduction to weaving class, so that way when they get home they can remember their techniques, and also for the February towel collection. Both techniques in both sets, whether it's the introduction class pattern or the February towel collection, both of the techniques are the same that you're going to use. This is February's towel collection for this year, which is obviously 2019 right now. These are the three colors. It makes three towels. I have used the pink towels, and so now I have to create another pink towel. But these are very sweet towels. We are going to be learning the hem stitch and the lino stitch, the 2x2 lino stitch, both of which are on the February's towels as well as the introduction to weaving. If you get the February towel collection kit, it comes with 2 warps and 2 groups of weft. These are 8-2 cottons, and you will be warping your loom 2 ends at a time through each hole in each slot. And that is why you have 2 of these. You'll turn these into little balls, and you can pull the yarn through your holes and slots easy. As far as these, you get the color weft. You'll make these into 2 little balls, and you will also wind 2 at a time onto your shuttle. That makes your yarn a little bit fatter, and it just makes these really perfect, just a wonderful, sweet, fluffy, and very soft towel. So let's begin. In both my towel for February and in my introduction to weaving, I tell you to weave a certain amount of inches in your first color, or maybe color A. And then after you weave that amount, you are going to do your hem stitch. So I chose these colors. This is my waste yarn. You will do waste yarn like in normal weaving, and I give the amount of picks you need to take in your directions for both the class and the towel set. Then you're going to weave a certain amount of inches in your color, and then you're going to stop. And if you remember in class and in your instructions, I'm going to tell you that you need to leave a tail 3 to 4 times the width of your fabric. You're then going to take that tail and you're going to do your hem stitch. For these particular projects, we're going to act like this blue right here is really the orange. We're going to pretend like this is attached. I want you to be able to see the hem stitch as I do it. So if this was attached, I tell you in your directions, you're going to go under 2, 1, 2, and I beat this really tight. All right, you're going to go over the same 2, and then you're going to go up 2. This is the first row, and this is the second row. So I'm going to actually be going right there, if you can see that. So I went under 2. I'm now going to go over 2, the same 2, and I'm going to go up 2 rows. Now I'm going to go straight down, and I'm going to go under the next 2 warp, and I'm going to go over those same 2 back into the hole, and I'm going to go up 2 rows, so that way you can see here's row 1 and here's row 2. So I'm going to go over those 2 rows and back up 2 rows. And I'm going to pull taut. This one, if it was attached, would be tighter. This outside edge, it's not for this video, but we'll pretend like that one is is a little bit tighter. So here we go again. I go straight down, and I'm going to go under the next two. I'm going to pull my needle through. I'm going to go back around the same two, and then I'm going to go up two. So I'm going to clear that space so you can see. 1, 2. I'm going to go down and up 2. And pull taunt. We go straight back down under the next 2 warps. We're going to pull through. We're going to go back around those same 2 warps. We're going to go down, and we're going to go up 2. And let me make so you can see this. I beat this kind of tight. I want you to be able to see it good. I'm going to go up into the 2 rows, pulling taunt. Straight back down, under 2, back around the same 2, back around the same 2, and up 2. Now let me show you what a lot of students do, and they get messed up and think, what do I do about this? What did I do? A lot of students will go under 2 and they'll come up, but what they have done is they haven't moved their yarn out of the way, and so it gets caught and forms this different type of a stitch. So when they go back, and let me do this so you can see it once again. So when they go back down 2 and then they come up 2, they have this kind of odd looking stitch going on. It's beautiful. It's a straight down stitch, but you can see it's a bigger, fatter stitch, and it just looks different to them. So what we're going to do is one more time, we're going to go under 2. I'm moving my yarn out of my way. Except it got caught on my apron. There we go. I'm going to go back around and up 2. Let me make a hole so you can see. Here we go. All right. You will continue this across. When you get to the end of both the Introduction to Weaving and the February Towel, you're going to come to the very end. We're going to pretend like we jumped all the way over here. As a matter of fact, let's just jump over here and do these last 2 warps before the very end. When you get to the end of this pattern, both patterns, you're going to see there's 3 warps, and that freaks people out. They're supposed to be 3 warps. That's fine. You're going to treat them the same as you did the 2. You're going to go under, instead of 2 now, you're going to go under 3, because we're at the very end of our fabric. You're going to go over those 3, and this is the second row right here. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go around those 3, and you're going to come up. You're going to come up and row 2, but 1 warp yarn is going to be on the outside of your stitch. All right, so I went under 3, I came back around, and I went up 2 rows, but if you look, I still have a warp yarn here. And the reason being is because I'm going to go around that warp yarn like this. Now, this would be the same color as your orange. You wouldn't see this. And I'm going to go through that little hoop that I just made, and then I would weave this in. Remember, we would be using the same, if I can get that in there, trying to let you see this without my hands getting in the way. Anyways, you would weave this in back in through your fabric, and you would not be able to see where the tail was ended. And you would end up with this really beautiful pattern. Now, that is the hem stitch technique for both the Introduction to Weaving and the February's towel. So now what I'm going to do is actually weave the Lino lace stitch 2 by 2. And I forgot to get my pickup stick. Let me reach back here and get my pickup stick. Okay. In the directions, it will tell you to end on the right. If you're a lefty in both of those directions, obviously you're going to do everything opposite. I start on my right with my heddle in the up position, and if I have my shuttle in my left, my heddle is in the down position. So I start on the right because I'm a righty with my next color. And I weave 4 rows. So this is 1. And I'm going to tuck my tail in here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of beat that in place so it's nice and neat. This is 2. This is 3. And this will be my 4th pick. So I am ending with my right hand. If you are a lefty, you're going to be ending with your left hand. I'm now going to put my heddle in the neutral position so all of my warps are flat. And I'm going to take my pickup stick. And this might be a little difficult to see, so I'm hoping that I can explain it. You're going to pick up, in both patterns, you're going to pick up the first 4 warps in your hole. You have a slot and hole in your rigid heddle. You're going to pick up the first warp in your hole. You're going to go over the slot. You're going to pick up your second warp. Go over the slot, you're going to pick up your 3rd warp, go over the slot, you're going to pick up your 4th warp. Once you do this, you're going to take your left hand and you're going to pick up the next 2 warps and you're going to pull them slightly to your left. You're going to take your pickup stick and pick up the next 2 warps and you're going to pull that slightly to your right. And you're going to drop the left, and that is going to create this X. So I only have these 2 warps on my pickup stick. I'm going to pick up with my left finger, 2 more warps, pull them slightly to the left. With my pickup stick, I'm going to move those 2 warps onto my stick and slightly to the right, and I'm going to drop my left. Pick up with my left 2 warps, pulling to the left, pick up the next 2, putting them on my stick and dropping. Pick up my next 2 warps with my left hand, pulling to the left, picking up my next 2 warps on my stick. Now I'm getting close to the end. So what I need to do is I'm going to be picking up the last 4 warps in my holes. So I'm going to kind of take this finger and kind of look. There's the first warp that's in my hole. There's the second warp in my hole. There's the 3rd, and there is the 4th. I'm going to pick those up with my finger and slide it. What I have done is I have created a salvage. Did I say that right? I always have a hard time with that. A selvage, there we go. A selvage here and here. My lace pattern is in the middle, so what this does is this stabilizes my fabric. I'm going to turn this on my side and I have created a shed. I'm then going to take the same yarn, I have not cut it. the same yarn, either yarn number 2 or yarn B, and I'm going to pull it through, and I'm going to take my pickup stick and I'm going to flatten it back out, and I'm going to kind of work this to about 1/4 of an inch. And see that beautiful lace crisscross pattern right there? At that point, I'm going to remove my pickup stick. I'm now, remember, my heddle is in the neutral position, so I'm now going to take that and I'm going to put it in the down position. How do I know that? Because my shuttle is in my left hand. I'm going to now do 4 picks. And I'm going to take my heddle and beat that down about 1/4 of an inch. Sometimes, because you have all this loose yarn, you can just pull this just a little bit, work that little bit. You don't want to pull it tight, but it looks really weird. I promise in the wash, when you dry it, all of this is going to straighten out beautifully. You're going to put your heddle back into the up position because my stick is in my right hand. And I am going to continue to weave. I did 1, and now I'm going to weave whatever the pattern says for the next however many rows the pattern calls for. Make sure, like what I just did here, see I have a big ugly spot there. So what I'm going to do is take this and I'm going to pull that. I'm still in the same shed. Pull it a little bit taunter. There, much better. And then that was pick 2. And this is pick 3. And this is pick 4. Now we're going to end on the left side. And like I said, most of the time, if not, well, probably 95% of the time, I always try to end with my pickup stick in my, I'm going to pull this. I can tell it's going to be a little bit too loose. There we go. I always try to end with my pickup stick in my right hand, but sometimes depending on the pattern, you can't. This is 4 rows. This is 4 rows. This is even. So I would go ahead and cut this because we're doing plain weave or tabby in both the patterns. For the introduction to weaving and to the February towel, we're doing